Hello everyone, and welcome to History. In this episode, we'll revisit one of the most remarkable moments in military history, when Vietnamese soldiers turned America's most advanced missiles into nothing more than toys. With brilliant strategy and unwavering courage, Vietnamese soldiers managed to outsmart the U.S. strike missile system by simply turning their radar on and off, a clever trick that looked like a child's game of peekaboo, but left U.S. forces completely helpless. Frustrated, the U.S. military decided to strike back by upgrading the AGM-45 strike missile into the more powerful AGM-78, known to Vietnamese soldiers as Strike 2. This new version was a real monster. It doubled the range from 40 kilometers to 90 kilometers, carried a 97-kilogram warhead, and could fly at over 600 meters per second. Even more dangerous, it could remember radar positions and strike them precisely, even after the radar had been shut down. It was a terrifying weapon, and one that seemed nearly impossible to defeat. But Vietnamese soldiers, through sheer intelligence and sacrifice, found a way. They stopped keeping their radar systems on all the time. Instead, they only powered them up at the exact moment enemy aircraft were within range. To know when that moment came, they relied on a network of observation posts stretching hundreds of kilometers. During the day, spotters used optical scopes. At night, radar came into play. For example, when Vietnamese soldiers in Nguyen spotted enemy aircraft heading north, they'd quickly alert Thanh Hoa, then Ninh Binh, and finally Hanoi. By the time the aircraft reached the capital, Vietnamese soldiers were ready, radar on, target locked, missiles fired. This chain of coordination was exhausting, but incredibly effective. It dramatically reduced U.S. bombing success rates and made their guided missiles far less lethal. So why didn't the upgraded missiles lock onto radar when it was switched on? After painful losses and careful study, Vietnamese soldiers discovered that the missile needed time to record radar coordinates. By quickly turning radar on and off and constantly changing frequencies, they confused the missile's guidance system. When radar was active on frequency A, they'd track, then switch off, change to frequency B and power up again, repeating the process until the perfect shot presented itself. This clever approach narrowed their operational zone but greatly increased precision. In effect, Vietnamese soldiers could dive in and out of the battlefield unseen, yet still strike with deadly accuracy. Once they had neutralized the strike missile threat, Vietnamese soldiers had peeled off one of the key armor layers protecting the U.S. B-52 bombers. Without those escorts, the B-52s became vulnerable. To fight the B-52s, Vietnamese soldiers used every tactic available, and not just missiles. The first tactic was avoidance. When reconnaissance planes like the OV-10 circled overhead, followed by sudden silence, it meant only one thing: a B-52 raid was coming. Soldiers immediately took cover. They also learned never to travel along the same trails, never to rest at river crossings, since those coordinates were pre-marked by U.S. bombers. These small but life-saving habits reduced casualties dramatically. The second tactic was direct assault, attacking the B-52s right where they slept. It sounds like legend, but it's true. Vietnamese special forces infiltrated deep into Thailand and destroyed entire squadrons of U.S. aircraft at bases like Udon, Ubon, and Utapao. After the Battle of Khe Sanh in 1968, the U.S. military realized how devastating the B-52 could be. But Vietnam's dense jungles and guerrilla warfare tactics made traditional ground operations nearly impossible. Unable to locate Vietnamese soldiers, the U.S. resorted to carpet bombing, wiping out everything in suspected zones. To do that, the U.S. military needed secure air bases. But even with many bases in South Vietnam, they didn't trust them, fearing Vietnamese commandos could strike at any moment. So, they moved their B-52s to Thailand, believing they were safe there. They were wrong. Under direct orders from Party First Secretary Le Duan in 1969, Vietnamese special forces began striking enemy headquarters and bases deep behind the lines, stabbing the enemy in the eye. As he put it, these elite commandos were carefully selected, often Vietnamese expatriates living in Thailand or the most skilled and disciplined soldiers available. They endured brutal jungle marches, surviving on nothing but compressed rice and sugar, navigating by stars and rivers. After months of preparation, Captains Feng Hong Lan and Le Van Dinh carried out one of the most daring missions in military history. With only 2 men, they infiltrated the Utapao airbase in Thailand and destroyed 8 B-52 bombers, each worth $14 million. In one night, over $100 million in U.S. aircraft vanished in flames. The attack shocked the U.S. military, demoralized their troops, and proved that even in a foreign land, they could not escape the reach of Vietnamese soldiers. When they returned home, these commandos were hailed as living legends, symbols of courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable spirit of Vietnam. Stay tuned for the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 1 million viewers as we continue exploring the incredible stories of courage, strategy, and sacrifice that shaped history.